I am so tired of coming on this podcast every single week and telling you to stop playing T.Y. Hilton. Like, just stop it.
Mikey needs help.
Mikey needs help.
I was like, if you don't have Jeff Wilson in here, and if you don't run it on first down, I'm going to strangle you through that TV.
You should know better than everyone else. That fool tears you up when you plays you.
Yeah, but
Don't you want him on your team?
I have him at number 25.
Thank you. Fine. Todd's the reasonable one on this show.
I take issue with everything he said there.
Well,
I really do.
DeAndre Swift. He's going to break them tackles, son.
That's bold. That's bold. That's putting your nuts on the table right there.
Hey, there's the first time for everything.
Waxing poetic over here with Todd Diamond.
Dude's old.
So what? He's not as old as Brady, and you're jerking him off before the show starts.
I have Sutton in my top 10. I have him at number 9. Yes.
You know what? I'm just canceling the league. I can't do this with you guys. Week 3 is in the books, and boy, did it suck. Welcome to another edition of the MHA podcast. Not sure there's a better way to start that podcast, but here we go. All 3 of these owners lost in this previous week, but we are here, and we're fighting through the pain and still bringing you the MHA podcast. Not sure why we're doing it, but, let's give them a show. It doesn't have to be a good show, but it's a show. So how's everyone doing on this Tuesday night?
One silver lining tonight, just, talking about other sports, the Yankees AL champions. So, that's something to be excited about tonight. But,
It's getting worse and worse.
Yeah, I know, but no, it's, hey, it's fantasy football for you. It's not always gonna come out smelling like roses. Sometimes it's gonna smell like
ass.
I don't know. Well, I was thinking of another flower, but maybe daffodils. I don't know. Maybe daffodils don't smell as good as roses. Maybe
daffodils. All
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Mikey, how we doing?
I'm doing all right. I didn't really sweat the loss too much. Like, when after the morning games that you're kind of in a bad position, I mean, you still have hope, but I mean, that's kind of where I was when Josh Allen outscored Mahomes, by whatever it was, 34 points. I mean, that's a tough thing to make up.
Yeah, we said it on the last podcast, but Josh Allen's pretty good. Pretty good. Didn't throw a touchdown, but still put up a ton of points. Some things I've noticed from this week. Bad week for the top running backs. I mean, we'll talk a lot about it as we go through the bus of the week, but here are just some names that did not do very well. Aaron Jones, 4 points. Joe Mixon, 5. Miles Sanders, 5. A.J. Dillon, 5. Kamara, 6. David Montgomery, 1. Rashad Penny, 7. Yeesh. Running back's not good. These are the top guys.
Whoa. Did you just say Rashad Penny amongst the top guys? Really? Really?
Well,
If there is a positive silver lining on anything, I still believe in Rashad Penny.
I guess.
And 7 points is a good week for him.
I wonder what a league vote would say as far as him being a top guy.
All right. We can strike Rashad Penny off the list of top guys. Fine.
Yeah.
Some of the top running backs this week were on benches. Khalil Herbert with 29. Jamal Williams, 23. Cordell Patterson, 21. 26 running backs had 10 or more points. In the wide receiver world, 35 wide receivers had 10 or more points. Here are some names from the top 5 wide receivers, some unknowns. Mac Hollins led all wide receivers with 22 points. Phillies wide receiver Devonta Smith, 22. Marquise Brown, 21. Zay Jones, 20 points. And that now highly vaunted Jaguars offense, bastards, and 20 points from Russell Gage. Just some big names there and some other wide receivers. A lot of wide receiver points this week. Romeo Doubs, 17 points. Isaiah McKenzie, 16. Tyler Boyd, 15. Vikings' third wide receiver. KJ Osborne, 14 points. I'm a little bitter at that. Greg Dortch. You might know what team Greg Dortch plays for.
Oh, yeah. I've been considering him for like 3 weeks. He plays for Arizona.
Thank you for ruining it.
Yeah. No, I don't. Well, here's the thing.
Greg Dortch, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know anything about fantasy football.
Yeah,
ever.
we do. Yep. But here's the thing, too. You said Russell Gage. To Russell Gage's credit, half of Tampa Bay's wide receiver core was, gone. So, I just, that one you can kind of just take that as a wash.
I'm not saying that it's out of the realm of possibility for these guys to do well. It's just,
No, really.
what did Gage do last week with everybody out of the lineup?
Not very well.
It's just names that you don't see near the top. That's all I'm saying.
All I'm saying.
It was a weird week in fantasy.
It's very true.
What do you got against Russell Gage, son?
I don't have anything against Russell Gage. I'm just saying it's it's kind of it's a process of elimination. When obviously Russell Gage balled out, but just saying when Mike Evans, Julio, and Godwin, all gone, you're gonna.
Because I suppose Julio would have made all the difference.
You know what? I still a little bit believe in Julio, and they say Julio's going to come back next week. I'm like playing.
Oh, good.
Just saying,
you should put him in your lineup.
Well, we're gonna see. We're gonna see what Keenan.
Well, yeah. I don't know.
I still believe in Julio a little bit. Okay, all right.
You believe in him a little bit. You either believe in him or you don't.
Well, I'm not.
I hear parents say, "I believe in you, Todd," but just a little bit.
Well, no, are you kidding me? They would believe in me if I was just,
And that's a belief you need to have in Julio.
Well,
or you don't believe in him.
I still believe in him 100%. Okay, I'm not dropping him. I guarantee you that. I'm not going that far. But
Mikey, who would you rather have, Julio Jones or Rashad Penny?
Ooh.
Oh man,
let's hear it, Mikey. Come on.
We'll let him think about it. Let's get to the nudes.
Okay.
A lot of news this week.
Well, this reporter was possibly a little hasty earlier. Would like to reaffirm his allegiance to this country and its human president. May not be perfect, but it's still the best government we have. For now.
We'll start with these trades. I don't know about these owners. Dawson Knox was traded for Robert Tonyan. That was weird. But whatever. All right. Mikey trades Tua for T. Higgins. How many points did Tua have this week? Was
26.
it 65? Was it 65?
26.
Oh, no? Oh, okay. Kevin traded Amari Cooper and Cordell Patterson for Nick Chubb. All right. I mean, you know what? It actually, if that trade would have went through, that's a lot of points for Cooper and Cordero this week.
Yeah,
but Nick Chubb is also the best running back in our league. Not sure I would still do it. Dalvin Cook dealing with a separated shoulder. He's dealt with it many times in his career. Could be ready to play this week if he wears the right stuff. I guess there's gear he can wear. Bishop Sycamore now becomes Chad Powers fan club. I guess he is more of the topical team name type of guy. Must have worked. He got the win. So
I mean,
that.
That's called lack of identity. When you don't win very many games, got that lack of identity. I'm not throwing any shade.
David Montgomery left his game early due to knee and ankle issues, considered day-to-day. Good old Joel Mixon also didn't finish his game this past Sunday. He's also got some ankle issues. Seems to be good to go for Thursday, but I love Thursday night football. DeAndre Swift is forever banged up. Was on a limited snap count last Sunday, and he got hurt in that limited time. Golly. He's got numerous injuries, including ankle and shoulder stuff. Could miss a few weeks. Josh Allen apparently hit his finger on his very last pass of the game. I guess Allen can rest okay. He's supposed to be good for this weekend. Justin Herbert dealing with a rib issue. Has been dealing with it since week 2. And Mac Jones suffered a high ankle sprain. So there's your news and notes. You guys want to say anything? Trades, injuries, anything else before we go into the week 3 recap?
No, I think that's pretty good. I mean, just one side note than anything, but like I said, Broncos 2-1. Woo! Gotta start that off right
after the end of the game.
Or the end of the
show. Excuse
me. I know. But
we gotta say something about your trade.
Yeah. I mean, it was surprising.
Yeah, to say the least. Rich get richer.
I mean, we'll see. No, I'm happy to have T Higgins because I,
Oh
I
yeah,
was
I'm
kind
sure.
of, I was kind of like in the spot of like, choosing on that second wide receiver, and now I feel like I've got two guys I can just throw in and start every week. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I'm happy with that.
Got to see who I can fleece in this league next. Okay, week 3 recap. The defending champs lost their first matchup of the season, falling to the Gonzo Cats. Jalen Hurts, man, so good this year. Put up another 50-plus performance. We were talking about Hurts and his one passing touchdown after last week, but he balled out through the air, firing in 3 passing touchdowns. The Philly quarterback racked up those 55 points. Dalvin Cook recorded 13 points before going down with his injury. CUP, disappointing days from Swift. Of course, he was already on a kind of a snap count. AJ Dillon was bad. Michael Thomas under 10 points. CUP now 2-1. Gonzo Cats now 2-1. Lion Rip now 3-0, the only undefeated team left in the league. You can suck it, Aaron. He beat down NWA 132-100, and now NWA is 0-3. Crazy how fantasy football works sometimes. Joe Burrow rebounds for 52 points. Singletary caught 9 passes to rack up 19 points. Of course, his dynamic duo of wide receivers and Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs combined for 22 points. The NWA scored a season low 149 from David Carr, so almost half of that coming from his quarterback. Of course, interesting he played Carr over Herbert, but I guess Herbert dealing with the injury maybe knew he wasn't going to get as much work. But didn't really get much help from the rest of the team. Tyreek Hill, who was great 2 weeks ago, only 3 last week, 6 from Kamara, 5 from Miles Sanders. And so NWA having to battle without a win so far. The Hot Tamales trying to go 3-0 this weekend, but face Josh Allen and the Belt Sanders, I guess, but mostly Josh Allen. The Bills gunslinger tallied a season-high 72 points, while Allen got solid days from Brandon Ayuk, Ezekiel Elliott, and Damian Harris. Mikey got a mortal game from Patrick Mahomes with just 38 points. Tamales now 2-1. The Belt Sanders now at 2-1. Mike, you want to say something about your matchup real quick?
Yeah, I mean, one of the big things that killed was just like second half of that game. Mahomes had Kelsey wide open in the end zone. It would have been Kelsey's second touchdown, and he dropped it.
Oh, so
Uh,
double points, you mean?
yeah, I don't know. The Chiefs allowed Indianapolis to play slow ball, and I hate it when that happens because it just
Sucks
yuck.
away those completions.
It did, but my other, I guess, concern for me is Eckler got to double figures again. He got there because they were behind, but 5 rush yards,
Yeah, what's that about?
and he has no touchdown so far this year.
Those
Mm,
receptions are kind of salvaging him from being a total bust.
yeah,
It hasn't been the normal Eckler usage, to say the least.
yeah. Who'd have thunk it? I'm relying on James Robinson.
Yeah, that's a good move by you. All right. The newly formed Chad Powers fan club sent the Butterfingers to their second loss in the season. His starting wide receivers and running backs combined for 56 points, 16 from Chris Olave. Man, what a day for him. 9 receptions, 147 total yard, or 147 receiving yards, excuse me. Man, Russell Wilson continues to be a fantasy disappointment, just 28 points. Of course, Jerry Jeudy connected to Wilson, just 2 points. Aaron Jones, 4. Miles squad, their first win of the year. Now 1-2. Todd squad also 1-2. Todd, anything you want to say about your matchup?
Well, it was just one of those bad weeks. I mean, when your kicker kind of scores more points than a couple of your skill offensive players, it's going to be a bad it's going to be a bad week. So I'll say this: one of the kind of surprises, second week in a row, but Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I mean, seems to keep finding the end zone. So you got 12 points out of him, which is just great. So that's something to just thinking about later down the road. He's been great. And then, I mean, yes, Russell Wilson and Jerry Jeudy experiment. I mean, yes, saying goes, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. So, I have to either, make a decision, maybe, there's another bad week, do I, go for another quarterback, or, what do I do? But it's just a bad week. Not too worried about it.
Is it a mistake that you took Judy over Sutton?
Um, No. And the reason I say that is I feel like Russell Wilson looks at Jerry Jeudy as, and again, and this was a player I wasn't very high on. I'm not really, but he looks at Jerry Jeudy as a Tyler Lockett 2.0. He still goes to Jerry Jeudy. Now, obviously, Jerry Jeudy had that opportunity for that long, possible touchdown. Now that ball was tipped. The ball was tipped. And, you play the what ifs to the live long day. But I just feel like Jeudy, for the rest of the season, I think will still be the better option, and I think will get me more points than Sutton. I know Sutton's kind of obviously Sutton's reliable and goes to him, but I think Jeudy. I still feel comfortable with Jeudy. Jeudy will get me I think more touchdowns, and I think the receptions will come as the season's going on. So I feel good about Jeudy more than Sutton.
Sutton has 26 targets so far to Jeudy's 16. Mikey, based on what you've seen, on a scale of 1 to 10, how concerned are you about Russell Wilson being a fantasy quarterback, not a football? Broncos are 2-1 despite all the craziness, but as a fantasy quarterback and what you've seen, what is your scale? Like how concerned are you? 10 being incredibly concerned, 1 not concerned at all.
10. Todd's 1 and 2.
Wow.
Todd's 1 and 2.
Yes, but I mean, is he going to get worse? Is he going to get better?
He'll get better, but that was my concern going in, and why I didn't want to draft him is that I figured it would take time. And when you're playing fantasy football, I mean, these games are precious week to week. I mean, you could find yourself in a hole by the time that he's like really rolling. I mean, it could be like week 8 or 9, and then where are you going to be?
22 rush yards for Russell Wilson on the season. The 59% completion percentage is by far his worst of his career. So we'll see if that gets better. Continuing on with the recap, in the highest scoring game of the week, Kilgore Trout edges Cooper's Cousins 147-140. Feel bad for those guys because playing anyone else, you probably would have won outside of eating W's. But big time performances all around in this one. This one came down to Monday night's game between the Giants and the Cowboys. Trout was up 129-120 heading into that one. Cooper's Cousins had Saquon Barkley, and Trout had CeeDee Lamb. Barkley piled up 20 points and looked good doing it. But CeeDee Lamb had his best outing of the year, 8 receptions, 87 yards, and a TD, 18 total points. And Trout hangs on. They're 2-1, and Dylan's team down 1-2. Hopefully Tua can bring him out of the gutter. We'll see. And in the final matchup, the lowly Lemonheads couldn't muster up 100 points again. Fell to Eaton W's, who led all scores with 149. Lamar Jackson almost has as many points as I did, 64 points. Saying I did as the team because we only had, 90-some points. Derrick Henry had his best day of 2022, 21 points this weekend. Not much to say. Eric's team continues to struggle. Man, first-round pick Justin Jefferson, 3 points. Second-round pick Joe Mixon, 5 points. Darrell Henderson, looks like Cam Akers is all but taking control over that position over there. Lemonheads, 1-2. Eaton W's pick up their first win. They're 1-2. I don't have much to say about that. My team was not good. Tom Brady hopefully gets back, but who knows what's going to happen. Doe of the week. I think I only saw one candidate. Anybody else see more than one?
Well, I have.
I don't know if I can count you much, Miguel. I mean, you were
No.
close, but I wouldn't count you in that mix.
No, I have 2. But, I mean, I have 2, but one deserves it very much over the other.
Well, give me the one that doesn't deserve it. What's the one that you?
All right, the one that doesn't deserve it is Quayne, and with Herbert over AJ Dillon or Swift, whichever way you want to do it. He doesn't deserve it.
Yep. The one that deserves it, I believe, is Cooper's Cousins for the second straight week. Lost by 7 points and could have made a change from Marquise Brown, who scored a season-high 21 points over scary Terry McLaurin, who scored double figures with 11.
And that's kind of interesting because I agree with that one, because knowing how good Philadelphia's defense has been the last 2, I would have I would agree with you. Going because the Rams defense has not been that great, and I should
What are we
know
talking
because I
about
have the
right
Rams.
now?
What?
Dude.
What are we
That's
talking about right now?
I'm
Todd,
just
that-
go ahead.
I'm just saying I agree with you with Scary Terry, Marquise Brown over Scary Terry because just knowing that matchup. I know we're talking about defenses. I get it, but the Rams defense has not been that great. I should know. I have the Rams defense. Philly's defense has been a little bit more stingier. So I would have gone with Marquise Brown with the better, with the more beat up defense.
no.
So I agree with you that it should be Dylan.
Wait.
Oh, all
I'm not. I am. I was gonna let it go,
right.
but I'm afraid I got to stop you in your tracks
Oh,
because
Lord. Okay.
you just made the case
Mm-hmm.
that he should have played Marquise Brown over Scary Terry based on the fact that Philadelphia's defense is better than the Rams.
At least
Now
last
I want our audience to know that you have both defenses and played the Rams.
yes. But the thing too is I also was going into that notion too that the Commanders have been playing too as well. So I was kind of waiting it out to see. Now, granted, okay, they scored 19 points. The Rams scored 10. Probably still would have lost anyway. But just knowing how the defense has been I get it. So
I don't think you get it.
I don't.
Well, getting back to the point, like my bigger pet peeve with Cooper's Cousins and the dough of the week was that he played a kicker that didn't play. And he
I
lost
didn't
by
even catch
7.
that. I thought maybe he got hurt during the game or something.
No, I mean he's been hurt since week.
Oh yes, he played in week 1, but not in week 2.
Yeah.
So he played somewhat. Well, oh my gosh. Now, was there like a possibility he was going to play?
Maybe, but you got to
No,
keep up on that.
Friday. It said on Friday that he was out on Friday. What is going on with Dylan this year? He's not playing kickers. He's trading away his best players. He's not playing his best players. What's going on? Dough of the week, 2 weeks in a row.
No!
Man, I don't know what's happening. All right. Oh man, I'm getting frustrated again. I feel like I'm back on that road again. All right. Let's talk about some stars of the week.
The cream of the crop. Nobody does it better.
Todd, I don't know why I'm starting with you, but we'll let you go first. Who shined in week 3?
All right, we're gonna go with CeeDee Lamb on Monday night. 18 points, 8 receptions, 87 yards, and a touchdown. Because obviously we knew, we thought, with Dak going down, Cooper Rush coming in there, how is the offense going to be? So he hasn't, skipped a beat, and CeeDee Lamb definitely is, making a good case here. And the first, only 3 games in, but making a good case for one of the best wide receivers. So I'll go with CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, 2-1 with Cooper Rush. Hasn't done much fantasy wise, but I think above all, CeeDee Lamb is a talented wide receiver, and some of those guys can shine despite the ridiculous quarterback that they have back there. But there's a reason why they won the game, because they fed him the ball. He also dropped one that could have led to another touchdown. So just imagine the day you could have had, but didn't matter at the end of the day. It ended up helping out Kilgore Trout, but good to see for Kilgore, who drafted him high. Mikey, who you have as a star of the week?
I'm going to give it to a guy that's making me eat my words so far. And
I know
that's,
who it is.
Yeah, that's Lamar Jackson.
That's right. It is.
64 points, another 5 touchdowns that he had. I mean, it didn't seem to matter that he didn't have yards or completions, because he had over 100 yards rushing again. And then, like I said, 4 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. So I wouldn't say I badmouthed him, but he definitely. I think I had him as one of my bust candidates of the year. So yeah, I'm gonna have to. He's making me eat my words so far.
42 in week 1, but then 68 in week 2, 64. Guess we'll really, in 68 against Miami and 64 against New England, if you believe in them at all this year. I haven't seen a lot of New England games, but they'll be tested again. Buffalo at home next week, and then Cincinnati's got a pretty good defense too. So interesting to see. But yeah, he's been lighting the world on fire. I was pretty high on him coming in. He's playing for that contract. He's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, and he's making my Mark Andrews pick looks good, but not much anybody else, at least consistently, I should say. One of the guys I had Lamar Jackson. I'm just going to say it because I think it's hilarious, but Nick Chubb was big and helping out, that team, Mr. Miles. I don't even remember his team name anymore. Is it Chad Powers fan club or whatever? But he traded him before Thursday night's game, but based on how the league does the trades, he couldn't, send him off until later. So he ended up playing him, and he scored 17 points. And as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, he leads our league in terms of running backs in points, and then went on to trade him. But, things could work out for him. But Nick Chubb is pretty amazing. He's had 15, 30, and 17. I believe he leads the NFL in rushing too. He's a good player. Mike, Todd, do you have anybody else?
I'll go with, and we, kind of buried him a little bit because he's, had 2 kind of low end weeks, but I'll go with Ezekiel Elliott on Monday night, 14 points. The Tony Pollard situation definitely, those whispers, is it going to be a full-time split? Because Tony Pollard looks a lot better than Zeke did, but Zeke, a touchdown, 73 yards rushing. So kind of showing, hey, I'm still here, kind of thing. So it helped him. I mean, granted, 72 points for Josh Allen, that definitely, helps out a lot too. But, Ezekiel Elliott, again, it's kind of his production over the last few seasons have not been great, whether it's the production or injury. So, kind of see him kind of have a bounce back, game after 2 kind of single digits sleepers. Only 6 points last 2 weeks.
Yeah, his first double-digit output of the season. It's not looking great. That touchdown salvaged his day. Just watching. I mean, I got to watch a game. I don't get to watch a lot of games, having to work Sundays this year. But Pollard is the better athlete.
Yeah,
he might be the better guy to have. I mean, they're kind of splitting. They like to run the ball, and they're splitting the carries. So I mean, Zeke still had 15. He's had 15, 15, and 10 attempts. So it's nothing to sniff at. But unless he falls in the end zone, he's worthless. I won't say worth. I mean, at 6 points, worthless. Probably not. 0 is worthless, but 10 for 52, 15 for 53 was a little better with 15 for 73. But if he doesn't have that touchdown, he's not in double figures and not that great. And I mean, I figured that was going in, but the lack of running back depth. I don't know if at some point we kind of saw last year where Pollard was taken over and rode the hot hand. He catches the ball a little bit better, but it's one of those things. They still like to run enough for Zeke to be somewhat relevant. Mikey, who else you got?
Well, I'm going to give a little love to Jalen Hurts for the second week in a row.
No kidding.
55 points, after throwing up a cool 60 last week. Like, if you look at Gonzo Cat's team, like the rest of his team kind of stunk it up this week, but because he had Jalen Hurts, I mean, he was able to get the win this week, and I've been impressed that he's doing it with his arm instead of with the run. I mean, that's 2 straight games over 300 yards passing for him.
Yeah, that was an offense I was not super high on coming in. I just didn't know what to expect. You bring in A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith. He was a rookie last year and showed signs, but you didn't know what his role was going to be, if they were going to be able to throw and complete enough passes. To be a running quarterback, it helps if the running games work. And Miles Sanders has actually been pretty good this year. So Goddard's been solid, at least fantasy-wise. So to have they've had some easy defenses at Detroit, Minnesota, and at Washington. I got Jacksonville next week and then at Arizona. So, but I mean, yeah, Jalen Hurts actually he's been throwing around 30 times a game. Not big totals. It's not 42 like Mr. Josh Allen, but he's done all right. Things have been working out for him. And, Gonzo Cat's reaping the benefits. He's now 2-1 with them. He was another guy I had as one of my stars of the week. He only had 15 points, but I mean, it's hard to ignore what Christian Kirk's been doing this year. Christian Kirk, 5th in our league in terms of scoring for wide receivers. And, he was that puzzle piece, or he was the domino that started everything in terms of wide receivers getting paid. We were all kind of like, well, that seems pointless. And, he's never put together like a full season of greatness together.
Mhm.
But I mean, this year, 12 targets, 6 targets, 9 targets. He's had 6 receptions in every game, 117 yards 1 week, 78 yards and 2 TDs, 72 yards and 1 TD. He's the number one guy. And Trevor Lawrence, I mean, I've only seen highlights, so I can't say I've watched the whole game, but he's looked pretty good. And that offense has looked pretty good. I mean, for someone as dumb as me, who started defenses against them for 2 weeks in a row, big mistake. That Jacksonville offense has been doing pretty well. So 22 points, 24 points, 38 points. So Christian Kirk, I know he didn't score the most points from wide receivers, but just as a whole on the season, he's done pretty well. It's been interesting to kind of see that.
What, do you smell something?
Do I smell something? What am I, hard of smelling? Of course I smell something.
All right, let's go to the bus of the week. We'll start with you, Mikey. Who stunk it up in week 3?
Ooh, this
There's
one
quite a
was
few.
tough because I was like, who do I pick on Eric's team between his
I
first
know.
2 picks?
Again, for 2 weeks in a row. Could have been anybody. Tom Brady had more points than Goff this week. That's just how bad it was for good old.
Yeah, as I was
man.
about to say, he had 47. Yeah, I mean,
All
it's
right,
a 7 point.
so I'll say one and then you can say the other. So I'll take Joe Mixon. I'll take this one. You can have the other one. Yeah, I mean, 12 attempts. In a game that they won, a game that Cincinnati won by double digits. That seems kind of odd to me. Yeah, I'm not sure what exactly is going on, but he has no touchdown so far, as far as rushing goes. I hate to say, at least so far, that I told you so in our pre-podcast. I thought this would go more the way of Burrow.
Oh, right. Okay, continue. Sorry. I was like, what are you talking about? Okay, never mind. Continue. Took me a second to catch up there.
Yeah, and so far that's the case. I mean, he's the young face of the franchise, and even though Joe Mixon had a fantastic year last year, they're putting the ball in the hands of their quarterback right now.
Well, the thing I'll say about Joe Mixon, he left that game early. It was Samaje Perine. He ended up scoring a touchdown and had something like double digit in carries. So I think if he would have stayed in the game, he would have had a much better fantasy day. It's hard to – they're not ignoring Joe Mixon. He had 27 rush attempts in week 1, 19 in week 2, and still had 12. Now, he's not rushing for an incredible amount of yards per carry, so that's been a little disappointing. But he still has 13 receptions, and I think he's going to be okay. Now, the conversation you and I had was they're going to go more balanced, more running, and it seems like for them, because they were 0-2, they lost by 3 points in back-to-back weeks against Pittsburgh and Dallas. Then they opened up the passing a little more. Now it's the Jets. It's calmed down a little. They're going to give up some points. I mean, they still only scored 27, but that's how bad the Jets are in terms of they only gave up 12. But Cincinnati's defense is good. Anyway, but our conversation, and that's why you're saying you were right, because they got to open it up on the passing end. He's the guy they need to rely on. And I get that too. But I think Joe Mixon is going to be just fine. I'm not super concerned about him, honestly. I mean, it's been bad the last couple of weeks, but not for the lack of opportunities, if that's the right word. He's getting targets. He's getting the carries. It'll turn around for him for sure. Todd, go ahead. You want to retort?
I was just going to say, and I agree with you in the fact that I think it's better for like the Bengals in general to be a more run oriented team. I just felt like because Burrow is their face and he's the cool new hot thing, that's the direction that they would go in.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with that. But I mean, when you're getting sacked 13 times in 2 weeks, the running game is what you use to get out of it.
But they supposedly fixed that. No, I'm just kidding.
Against the pitiful Jets that can't sack anybody. But yeah, I'm not concerned quite yet. I could be soon, but we'll see. Todd, a bust of the week.
I'm gonna go with Mr. Tyreek Hill. Whew, only 3 points. Whew. After putting up 32 in week 2, only 3 points. Now, granted, it was against Buffalo, but still, the hold Tyreek Hill that much. I mean, it just shows you how good, just shows you how really good that Buffalo defense is. Now, granted, Miami, still won the game, but to hold Tyreek Hill that way, that's tough. That's a tough. Knowing like, 32 points in week 2. Oh, it's gonna be another good day for Tyreek Hill. Nope, not so much. They got a 3 in there, but at 2 decided, no, I'm good for this week.
Let me ask you, Miguel. I don't know how much you saw this game, but I mean, I didn't get to see any of it. What was the Bills' defense that good? What was it? Something they wanted to slow down the offense so it's not a 35-30 type of game? What kind of took place in that to kind of slow down the Miami? I mean, you talk about slow down the Miami offense, but it's also slowing down Buffalo's offense. It only scored 19 points.
No, well, Tua got hurt in the second quarter of that game too, and then
I didn't even realize that either.
Yeah, and then Teddy Bridgewater came in, and he can't throw deep.
Mm.
He's more of the check down variety, so I'm sure that played a factor. And then when Tua came back, like in the third quarter, they never got back going again. So I don't know. Okay. It just didn't. It didn't seem like after he got hurt with that back injury, like it just never clicked after that.
I mean, Buffalo's got a good defense. Really, both teams have good defense. I know the not even just fantasy world, but the football world in general was so high on that game. I mean, it's 21-19, so it may have been a good game. I don't know. I didn't get to see any of it, but 21-19, a lot of disappointed fantasy owners outside of Josh Allen, and I guess Devin Singletary, who was the last guy I had on my list in terms of stars of the week, who had 19 points, 9 receptions, not even necessarily what he usually does with his feet, which isn't much, honestly. He obviously had a better second half last year, but to pull up 9 receptions, I think that was 19 points. That was huge. That was huge for Lion Rip to come away with that win. He doesn't even show what he had for rushing yards. Oh, just 13 rushing yards on 9 attempts. So definitely a day where catching the ball benefited him the most. And, I don't even think, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, is even a guy that even catches the ball regularly. He had 40 in 17 games last year, so not a ton. So to put up 9 in one game, probably not going to see that every week. So I don't know if Lion Rip, I don't know if you guys have the option not to, I don't know if you don't start him or depending on what you have on your bench, but I wouldn't bet he gets 9 receptions for the rest of the season. But of course, the way I've been thinking about fantasy has been totally wrong this year. He could get 15 next week. Who knows? But that's kind of how that goes. I don't know why I went to Stars of the Week back to Singletary. We were talking bust of the week, but that's how my day's going. Yeah, I guess the other bust, good old Justin Jefferson. Man, what happened 2 weeks ago? 30 points. Mm-hmm. And now Osborne is collecting more points and targets than Justin Jefferson. I don't know if it's a season, like a sophomore slump, or people are doing everything in their power to triple team Justin Jefferson. Like I said, I'm still working Sunday, so I don't get to watch these games. I saw the Green Bay game, and that was pretty amazing.
Well,
the Philly game was the one on Sunday night, right? So got to see that, or Monday night. It was Monday night. So I got to see a little bit of that, but Mikey, you were going to say something?
I was just to say maybe you could see him this time because they're going to be in London, so it's going to be bright and
7:30 in the morning.
yeah.
My day could be ruined before my soccer doubleheader. Nice, love it. But yeah, Justin Jefferson had 30 in week 1, 8 in week 2, 3 in week 3 against Detroit, which I thought for sure that he would ball out, that the Vikings would ball out in this one, and they won, but not because of Justin Jefferson. Todd, another bust from you? You have anybody?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with somebody on my team, and again,
Yeah, exactly. This is the time you pick your own team.
yeah. So I mean, hey, well, I want to save the worst for last.
You're supposed to save the worst for worst. You're not supposed to save
Well,
it. Worst is supposed
well,
to be the first.
I want to save it because then it'll just be extra worse. Just be a little extra. Fire on the wood. Anyway, I'm gonna go with Aaron Jones, and I know you guys tell me this all the time. You say this in the off season. I do this to myself. I get it that there's a split, but at the end of the day, for the love of God, look at what happens in week 2, 29 points. Give the man the damn freaking ball. If you give him the ball, good things happen. Stop with this. It boggles my freaking mind. Why aren't you giving the ball to your second best player on the team? Your wide receiver core is still young, still kind of inexperienced besides Lazard. But why? Why, for the love of God, Green Bay, just give the ball to Aaron Jones and good things happen. Everybody's happy. The whole world is happy, whether you're a Packers fan or you're an Aaron Jones fan or you have him on your good things happen, but when you don't, guess what? You just get more disappointment, and it's ridiculous. It is just ridiculous. He is your second best player on that team. I'm serious. He's the second best player next to Aaron Rodgers, and they just don't want to see that. All right, I'm done.
The Aaron Jones. I mean, Todd.
Yes.
You knew it was coming, right? I mean,
yes.
He's a great player. No one's.
I know. No, I know.
It was just. I mean, it's Tampa's defense. They have a really good defense. They gave him 12 carries, only 3 yards a carry, but Tampa Bay's good. And they gave him 4 targets, only 11 yards on 3 catches. Not to mention he fumbled the ball, so I don't know how much that played a factor in the AJ Dillon taking over some carries. Yeah. I think you're going to be okay. I think.
Yeah,
there are going to be weeks though where AJ Dillon's going to get more of the run.
Yeah,
Aaron Jones is. You can't be upset about it because you knew that going in.
Yes, I did it. It's just what frustrates me about it is just when Aaron Jones is on, that even when he's on, they go to AJ Dillon a little bit too. And I get it. We don't live in this world as much anymore with the number one running backs and the workhorse running backs anymore. I get it. That's just the way it's going. But I don't know. It frustrates me knowing when they do give him the ball, how good he can really be, how really good, and how that offense just has a different tune to it. It's there's no stalls, there's no nothing in there. But yes, I agree with you. Yes, Tampa's defense is very good. This wasn't just the Jets defense. I get it. But I think if you just try to give him the ball a lot more in situations, and I mean, because again, they force feed the ball to Devontae Adams, and there was nobody else there. But Aaron Jones, you're right. I'm gonna have weeks like that, and it's just the way it is. But just knowing how important that game was, get it to your second best player. But they don't pay me the big bucks to make those decisions.
Mikey, any other busts of the week you want to talk about?
Yeah, how about Matt Stafford? 27 points for Quayne, and I think the one touchdown that Cooper Kupp got wasn't even a passing touchdown.
Oh, it was a 20-yard rushing touchdown.
Yeah, I'm surprised so far that the Rams' offense has kind of been stuttering out of the gate. Wasn't really expecting that. So, yeah, I mean, he had under 20 completions, not even 250, no touchdowns. Not a good performance for Stafford at all.
Against an Arizona team that seems beatable so far, especially on the defensive side of things. So for him, I mean, that's kind of Matt Staff. I mean, there'll be days where he racks up completions, but for him, I mean, he had over 40 touchdowns last year. So the touchdowns are the make or break for him. He'll have weeks where he's had weeks where he had 27 completions and 29 completions. He had 38 points with 29 completions and 1 touchdown, but also 3 picks. He also led the league, or at least was a leader in interceptions last year. So you're going to have games with Stafford like this. He's not going to rush for any yards whatsoever. And he's going to put up 250, 300 yards, but there'll be weeks where he doesn't have any touchdowns. If he doesn't, that's going to be really a bad week for him because he relies so heavily on those touchdowns. You pretty much, we already kind of talked about the Broncos stuff. So that was all I had too. We didn't talk too much about it last week because there wasn't a lot, but man, there's a lot of surprises of the week.
Well, I bet the 8 ball didn't see that one coming. Yeah.
A lot going on. Did you guys look up that category at all?
Yeah, I mean, a guy that didn't play, but I think that was kind of surprising was Devontae Smith.
Yeah,
he's a guy that didn't get drafted very high. I think a lot of people, assumed correctly that AJ Brown is the number 1, but I mean, with his game-breaking speed, and I mean, there's a dude that won a Heisman Trophy. Obviously, there's talent there, and he had some breakout games last year. So, yeah, 8 catches for 169 and a touchdown. That's a pretty damn good game.
12 targets. This was a guy that had 0 points in week 1 against Detroit when they scored 38 points. In our other league, Mikey, someone dropped Devonta Smith in our league, and I put some money up, but not enough. But he was dropped in another league. So I think everybody thought, well, he's not going to be involved. He's involved, and he's looked incredible so far.
Yep.
Todd, did you have any surprises? Did you look that one up?
I would say, and he was on the bench, but maybe just
most
because
of these guys are. That's why they're surprises.
Okay. Isaiah McKenzie.
After me just shitting on him a week ago.
I mean, 7 receptions, 76 yards and a touchdown. Isaiah McKenzie, for the longest time was just like no, okay, he's there, but he kind of said, hey, remember me? But I mean, we all remember him as Bronco and how that kind of ended. But Isaiah McKenzie, who'da thunk it?
Who'da thunk it? Khalil Herbert was a guy that was probably one of the surprises of the week. CUP's bench, but 157 rush yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, a couple of catches as well. Big time day for him. I think he led all running backs in points. I believe he had 29. So a big day for him. And another guy, I kind of mentioned it before, but Trevor Lawrence, who had 58 points, 28 completions, 3 passing touchdowns. Again, Jacksonville's offense kind of opening up now and playing really well.
Yeah, best game of his career.
Man, oh man. So, yeah, anybody else you guys want to talk about? Anything at all? Todd, you want to go on your Broncos rant? I mean, let's try to not keep it too long, but anything you guys want to talk about?
I mean, hey, the Broncos, again, it's better than 1 and 2. Let's be realistic. We're not the Raiders 0 and 3, so that's kind of always a that's right. We're better than the Raiders, but the Broncos, they'll get there. We knew there was going to be growing pains, first year head coach and everything like that. But at the end of the day, Hackett, I think, has to realize, listen, this, Russell Wilson isn't a rookie quarterback, second year, still trying to figure stuff out, whatever the case may be. And he just has to let him be Russell Wilson. And, it kind of reminds me when Kubiak was here with Peyton, and Kubiak, I think, realized, hey, this is Peyton Manning, is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. I can still, I still have to coach and everything, but I don't have to worry too much about, hovering or whatever, because I know Peyton's gonna deliver. And Russell Wilson has that same mentality as well too. So I think Hackett has to realize, listen, I still make some decisions, but I can let him be the Russell Wilson that we've seen since he got into the league. So I think that's something that kind of popped into my head earlier today. I was at work. I was like, they kind of just let him be the quarterback, that he is. Kubiak said, listen, Peyton, I'll help I'll coach, the best of my ability and everything, but I'll let you kind of take a little bit of the reins too. And I think if Hackett just lets Wilson take a little bit more of those reins and trust him, and I think he does, there's no doubt about it, then I think we're fine. But I think if you're trying to micromanage and trying to be conservative, you can't see the quotes, the finger motions of the quotes, but then I think you're going to run into some problems. And I think we saw that in that Monday night game where, it's 4th and 5. No, 4th and 5. We have Russell Wilson. We don't need to kick a field goal. Let's go. Come on. So I just think in some instances, you just let him do that. I think the rest of the season, I think the Broncos will succeed a lot better.
All right. There's your
Thank you.
Broncos rant of the week.
Thank you. Did that make any sense?
Anything you want to talk about?
No, I'm just looking to get off the schneid. Losing doesn't feel good. So this is a big matchup for me this week against Joe, who I think has a really good team. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, let me get through those matchups in week 4. Top of my list, 2-1 Hot Tamales versus 2-1 Kilgore Trouts, who gets their 3rd win of the season. Good old Butterfingers will look to avoid 1-3 by facing off against the only undefeated team in the league in Lion Rip. I was told by the owner of Lion Rip himself that he's coming for you, Todd. You best be scared.
Yep, he says he's going to break me. Yep, I know.
That's right. The defending champs will look to get back on that winning track, taking on 1-2 Eaton W's. Cooper's Cousins at 1-2 can really put the hurting on the NWA, who's 0-3. The Chad Powers fan club with all his trades will take on the Belt Sanders. And yours truly is hoping to scrape up a couple points and try to beat those Gonzo Cats. So those are your matchups heading into week 4. Another week coming up here as we go through this season. Only one undefeated team left. One team that has yet to put up a win. And then we'll see how week 4 goes. So, that'll do it for us here on the MHA podcast. For Todd Diamond, Mikey Renault, I'm Eric Lansing. We'll see you next time on that MHA podcast.